Okay, so I just wanted to go over the preliminary title report. This usually comes about a week after escrow has been opened, depending on what's going on with title. So it's always a good idea to at least review this. It's not on you to give any sort of legal advice, but the time period does start as soon as it has been received by you. So based on how the contract is written, your client would have a certain time frame to dispute anything on here if needed. Majority of the time, it's going to be pretty plain and simple, black and white. You can always ask the title officer for their opinion on things, or if they see any concerns, sometimes they'll let you know. But I would still spend the time to look at this and then confirm that your client has received it, and or just send it to them and ask them to confirm that they've received it. So I'll just go over this one that I have. Pretty straightforward. Make sure the purchase price matches the sales contract. It's going to have the legal description of the property as well as who's currently owns the property. The first section of the exceptions are pretty much the same, and there's not really anything you can necessarily do about them. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong. So you're always going to see a version of this kind of listed, talking about easements, encroachments, things like that. Then it gets into, I guess, what would be covered under standard coverage. So, if there were any water rights or claims to water rights that is not on public record, those things wouldn't be covered. Taxes will be listed here, but that's escrow's duty to make sure all those get paid off. If there's several years listed, you might want to just ask escrow, make sure there's enough funds to cover that. But your client as the buyer wouldn't be taking on any taxes that remain unless that's part of the contract, but not typically. So any city liens would be listed on there. Any easements, so it's super common for there to be utility easements. That's not really something you can remove. It's more just be aware of. CC&Rs, those are good things to look at if there's anything specific. Just because the city allows you to have chickens, if it's written in the CC&Rs that you can't, those would override what the city says. So there are definitely things in there that you may want to look at, different than an HOA, but still rules that apply to the property. Looks like there's an easement here again for utilities, more utilities, building setbacks. This is all pretty standard. And then it shows a mortgage. Again, that's going to be escrow's duty to have that paid off at closing. So unless you see something like maybe a mortgage for more than what is owed, although it could be a reverse mortgage where it may show a higher loan amount than what they actually took out. But those are all just things. Each one is going to look a little bit different. I would say ask questions, but don't feel like you need, and actually do not give legal advice on any of this. If there is something that even title escrow can't clarify, then your client's going to need to consult with an attorney. So it is not on you to translate or advise on these things, but definitely if you see something, it is on you to question or at least provide a caution or red flag for your client. So biggest thing is for you to glance at it, see if there's anything obvious of a concern to you, and then confirm that your client receive it. And if they have any questions, to reach out to a title officer and or attorney as needed. So again, if you have any questions, just let me know.